So, good evening, class. This is the last week of the Joy of Programming in Python, and because of that, I've quite diverted from what's actually been taken the last week in the course because essentially I felt all we did was the network X and things like that, which I feel we have done the previous classes. So I wanted to teach something new, and I think we have not done anything about TKinter, which is quite the useful concept when it comes to like making something called a GUI. GUI stands for Graphical User Interface. So there are many ways you can make a GUI in. There are many ways you can make a GUI in Python, and but we are going to be using the standard approach. This TKinter is, you don't need to pip install it or anything. It will come by default in your Python installation. Madhan, do you have a question? Madhan Mohan?
Yeah, yeah, okay. I I tried to install this library. The
The TKinter.
I think I had sent that library I couldn't install,
Which
but
one?
that was it was just for last class. I think I had sent a question also. I mean, in the
Selenium.
Selenium, correct.
Are you sure you could not install it, or we are not able to open it?
I am not able to. I mean, it came, but whenever I go for import Selenium, it says that it's not there.
Are you sure? Do you have? Okay. So I'm assuming you're doing this in Spider, or
I'm doing a spider.
okay. So when you installed it, have you made like new environments? Okay. Do you know what environments are?
Mm,
Okay,
what?
I'm guessing not. Okay. Wait. Okay. I cannot say what is wrong with your installation without seeing it. So, would you mind if I look into it like after class? Like, essentially, after I take what's happening here, I will like perhaps after 7:30.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
We'll see. Oh.
Okay. So, as I was saying, so today's class we are going like okay, but once again, if you have any questions about last week's lectures and things like that, feel free to ask, and I'll try my best to answer them as soon as I can. If there are, and yeah, so essentially a GUI, that is a graphical user interface. Where did the text go? A GUI stands for graphical user interface, which is just a fancy word for saying a window. So this is a GUI, my Firefox is a GUI, and things like that. The Instead of a GUI, the other thing we are used to using is command line interface. CLI stands for command line interface. So when you have programs which are inside the terminal, we call that command line interface. When you have programs which open windows and things like that, we call that a GUI. And the word GUI is just so fun. So I, forgive me, I'm going to say GUI a lot in this class. Now, so what can we do with TKinter? Well, one thing I can show you right away, we can make a text editor in TKinter. So I can open files. I can open files. I can add text to it, and I can like save it again after that. And just to be clear, like this is done in Python. And Kishore, do you have a question? I guess not. So, well, this is the like some of the things you can do with TKinter. And as you see, unlike the other Python files you have written so far, you're having an external window because from the thing. But to, this unfortunately gives us, like, because this is so customizable, you can choose where to place this button, where to place these button, and things like that. And because of that, there is a slight complexity to the concept. It can get difficult if you are not sure what you're doing. At the same time, this is just very cool. So there's that. So the so we'll okay, if you're going to be coding the TKinter stuff inside a interactive Python notebook, you will need this command. Otherwise, you can just run it normally. Like for example, here I have a normal Python file and I have not written this percentage GUI thingy. And that's because this is a normal Python file. So if I run this, this might look really scary right now, but don't worry, we'll go through it step by step. So where the, yeah. So if I run this, I can, this is a calculator from feet to meters. So the idea is, but as you know me from the last few classes, I like much rather prefer showing the code in the interactive Python notebooks. So let's see. So the two things we need, essentially there's only one thing we need for to do the things in to make a Python GUI. The main thing we need is the TKinter library. We normally import it as .tk because writing .tkinter every time is inconvenient. However, note that the TKinter library was made in like the 1990s, and the design they chose then is like slightly outdated right now. So they have we also have tkinter.ttk, which gives us a newer look into many of the components. Like for example, I will show the example later. So we'll first do like the very basic things. Let's just make a window. So to make a window, all you have to do is run this tkinter.tk. And once I make a window, I can give it a title. I'm going to give it the very apt title of the joy of programming. So if I run this, I'll get this. I'm getting a window with joy of programming written at the top. It has all the commands here and all. I can close this, but oh, okay, it closed properly. Okay, so I've had one small bug in the code sometimes, that sometimes even after I close this, it won't stop running. But in that case, all you have to do is press the interrupt button here as needed. So the other thing if you want to forcefully shut down the window, you can do window dot shut, no, close, no, I wrote it somewhere. Destroy, yeah. If you do window dot destroy, so if I run this, it'll open the window, and if I want to close the window programmatically, so if I want to close the window programmatically, I'll just run this and it closes the window. But that window is boring. We need things inside the window. So according to documentation, the basic way to input normal text is using something called a label. Okay. So when you give the text, you need to tell TKinter where you're putting the text. So right now I'm putting the text inside the window. So if I run this, it's now here, Control Shift. And if I want to place some text inside this, I will first make the text. I make the text using the label command, and then I pack the text, which is telling me, which will tell TKinter to place the text inside. So if I run this, it places the text inside. But because I've placed it using the pack command, essentially the pack command is specifically used to make it as small as you can. So when every time you use the pack command, it will just make the window really small.
Hello.
Hello, Bhagat bhai. Okay, so but what if I want more text? Well, sure, we can just make another thing. So we can have second text and add more generic text to it. And as you'd expect, when I run this, it just adds the text towards at the end of it. But what if I want to change the text? So we can change the text by using the configure command. All the as the name suggests, you're just configuring it to be something else, and it works exactly as you'd expect it to. But this feels very restrictive, right? There's not much. If you can just place text in, remove text, that's not a lot of things, right? So, but you have many other commands. You can have a buttons. Button is equal to ttk dot button, and you can, once again, I'm placing the button inside the window, and the text should be do not click yet. Note that by just running this, the button won't be placed. I have to do button.pack so that it's placed inside. I hope that made sense, and I've not done anything too scary yet, because essentially all of these small things are what you're going to do to make the big text editor. I'll just place the text editor outside so that we have a clear goal. We know what you're going to do. Where did it go? Okay. Give me a second. I'll just window dot title of goal today. Yes. So you can, this is what we plan on doing today, and you can already see we are, I've talked about the button a little bit, and we'll one by one see what each of these commands will do. Okay. So, but there's no point of a button if it doesn't do anything if you click, right? And for that, let's just first define a function, because naturally, if you want the button to do something, that calls for a function. So def will get on click. It doesn't have to take anything. And what it does is it should, let's say, whenever you click the text, it changes something. So it changes the second text. And to make sure that it does the correct things, we need to give it the command argument and give the name of the function. So as I do this, it, oh god, oh yeah, that's fine. So essentially, the small mistake that happened was uh, this is right now the window I'm using. So I was okay. Never mind, I'll just continue. So as I click this right now, a button is here, and ideally, if I click this, the second text will change, and it has. So you can see how you can chain many of these things and figure out how to do good stuff. But one primary issue right now is this looks bad. We want it to look like slightly reasonable, at least like this. So how do you make like grids like this? So for to make grids like that, we have to use some we have to understand how this is like stored within the system, within TKinter specifically. So inside TKinter, we don't need spider now. Essentially, oh, right, I don't need this guy. Like, so in general, we have a main window, and on top of the window, we have the title, the close bars, and things like that. And we have access to everything here. So, what TKinter suggests is we should think of this like a grid. So, our goal will be a grid of two rectangles. We have one rectangle here and another rectangle. I forgot the command. Another rectangle here. This rectangle will have two buttons inside. This rectangle will have a text element inside. So that is the primary idea of how to do these things. But how do we decide the size of these and things like that? So, okay, another thing. So we have two rectangles. How do you make these rectangles? Essentially, what you're doing is you're making a grid. Here, so this is going to be a grid with the number of rows 1 and number of columns 2. So if you look at the code, we are going to be specifying this here. Where did it go? Configure text. Okay, yeah. So before that, these things I will call frames because those are going to be framing the things inside. So you will have frames, And inside the frames you can have other things. You can have other frames inside the frames also, but you can also but mainly we have other components inside frames. So I'll have a text component inside this. Hmm? So frames will be things which can hold other things inside, and you can essentially just have smaller other components inside those. Where is where the things come? Okay, yeah. So we'll first make a couple of frames. What the what I want to. Okay, I have to open a window again, so I'll just destroy and start again. Okay, and because of the nature of pack, I told you earlier that pack tries to makes a thing as small as possible. So we shouldn't actually use pack and instead use something called a grid, which is what I told here. It looks a little complicated. Actually, no, it's not too painful. We'll ignore these sections. We will look at those later. We can go through these one by one. So the first two things, it's exactly what you saw, what we know before. We are just making this box and filling it with this. Row configure tells you, like, when I open this up, it immediately opened like this, right? And that's because of the row configure essentially. So if you want something to allow as much text as possible, we have to use the text thing. Obviously, text is inside the window. So that is what we have given here. This is the frame of buttons. The frame of buttons has to be to the left, right? And it's well a frame. You can ignore this. This is just things to style. So if I there used to be a ridge here, and now that ridge is gone. See, there's a ridge. Yeah, the this raised just places makes this look like this. And we have two buttons. The first button is to open a file. The second button is to close a file. So the first button to save a file. So in the first button, the button is inside the frame of buttons. So I forgot to mention this. Okay. So whenever you're making a new component, you place the first thing in that component should be the parent of the component. Okay, I will say this again. So this is how a thing looks right now. This is inside the big thing. This is also inside the big thing. However, this is not inside the biggest of the components. This is inside the red component. So when I want to place this inside my GUI, I need to place this inside the red component. Similarly, when I make the next button, I have to place it inside the red component again. Text edit is this green section here, and as you see, it's inside the window. Window is the biggest component, if you remember earlier. Frame buttons is also inside the biggest component, but button is inside frame button. The buttons are inside the pink component. So the first element is the pink component's name. The name you're putting in on the button is open, and when you click this button, what is supposed to happen? When you click this button, you're expected to open a file. So we must write a function to open a file. We'll look into those functions a little later. Likewise, when you the button for saving, when you make the button, when you click the button, it's supposed to save the file. I hope this part makes sense and it's not completely unintuitive to everyone. Does anyone have a question about this? I'll take that as a no. Okay. Okay. Now we come across the grid section. Essentially, what it's saying is, whenever I'm placing these buttons inside, it must go in a specific order. And here the order is the open button is in the 0th row and 0th column. The save button is in the 1st row and 0th column. You can ignore the sticky right now. So if say I change this to 1 and 0 and 1, close this. If I run this, now it places them side by side because the column of the save button is the second column. So that kind of makes sense, right? Likewise, if I make this 1, 1, it essentially split this into a grid of 2 rows and 2 columns and place them in the correct places. I hope that it did make this was not too scary. So you can imagine how to technically make a small calculator app now, because you can easily place all the buttons in all the different places. Sure, it will be difficult to it takes a little bit of time to understand what each of the buttons are going to do in a calculator app, but you can imagine how the layout is. So we'll make this back to normal. So this is 0. Pad means you're forcefully making the space, you're putting space between the places. So if I put a pad of 50, what happens is this is pad X, so it will make it horizontally wider. So it doesn't make the button wider, it gives more space for the button. And yes, that's what pad does. And pad Y similarly adds more space vertically. As you'd expect. Now, if you remember, frame button and text edit both are part of the window. Essentially, We have the big window. How do I? This is the frame button and this is the text window, and both of them are part of the big window. And in the big window, well, we know that the frame is the first row and first column, so 0 comma 0. Text edit is uh, the first row and second column, therefore 0 comma 1. You can ignore the sticky right now, it's not that necessary. Now, so I hope this section made sense and it was not too scary. Okay, so now we can look into what the open file command does. But before we look into what the open file command does, there is one small issue with how the text in how the text here is displayed. So if I write a hello there, okay. So if you use the get command, get function, normally it would have given you what's inside. I can give a small example right now. Give me a second. I'll just take Sam. Okay, so I've made a small text box here. So uh, the text command makes a huge text box, while the entry command makes a small text box. So I can write stuff here. Hello, my name is Naveen. Now, how do we get the text from the thing? Well, there's the get command. So if I do sample text dot get, oh god, give me a second. Okay, so there was a small mishap there because, so I told you earlier, TTK is the new one, as in the, if you look, I hope it isn't over, right? So if you look at these, you can see there's a slight difference in the text box of the two things, and that's because ttk.entry and tk.entry are different. The tk is the old version, and that's why it give tk.entry is the old one, and that's why it looks like this. I It might not be that clear, but the cursor is significantly darker and things like that. There's an old school vibe to it. On the other hand, if I used ttk.entry, it's the cursor is not that dark. This is the more modern approach. Unfortunately, I hadn't known that they had different functions for things. So right now we'll just use get function to see the difference. So yeah. So if I add something here, like ice cream, if I do sample text.get, it gives me that. However, I cannot do the same thing for the big text component. So the apparently, for some reason, they decided that the big text component and the small text component should have completely different commands, which is very unintuitive in my opinion. But so to know how that works, I have to show this. So if you have a text box, you must use get using the line number and the position. So if I want as they say, if I want the first letter from the thing, I must get this, which we can test, and it gives me H, which is the first letter of the thing. If I give the 1.4, it will take from the first row, first letter, to first row, fourth letter. So, which is H here, hell. I agree. This is not intuitive. Unfortunately, this is how the people in those days did it for some reason. So with that, I think we can look into how the open file and save file commands look like. So TKinter also gives us a couple of files, functions to open and save files. So essentially, what I'm doing here is just using those to open and close files. So this section does not really matter. Essentially, this is the type of files I'm expecting to open. If if this command failed, then I'll just return immediately. If the command didn't fail, I have to rewrite everything in the text window. So if I have a lot of text here, if I open, I'm expecting to rewrite all of these texts. I mean, as in, all the text should be overwritten. So when I open this, all of, all of those texts are gone, and I'm replaced it with the what's inside that file. So the first step is to delete everything. Tk.end apparently gives you the, like, 1.0 is a string. So if I want to go all the way to the end, I can either give tk.end or end. Uh, so you as so there's that. So first I delete everything in the text thing, and then I read the file. This is what we had done in like week 4 or week 6, how to read a file given something. The output of ask file name is a file path which can be read by a normal, which can be read by Python normally. So here we are reading the file letter by letter, and then putting that letter inside the, no, we are reading the file as a string entirely, and then we're just immediately putting that string inside the, and then we are just immediately putting the string inside the text box. And to make things like neater, we are also changing the title of the, we'll also change the title so that it reflects that we have opened a specific file. So I hope that part made sense. Okay. And finally, after the save file, Martin, you had asked the question, right? About why Selenium was not working. After looking at save file, I'll look into that thing. Okay. Okay. So save file has, it's like very similar. The only difference is, instead of uh, we won't where did it go? We are not deleting anything. We'll just read everything and then put that inside the output file. That's it. So if this code will be there inside my GitHub repository, which I've shared with you, which I've shared. So if you want to look at this code, you can look at the just play around with the code and make changes as you want. So that concludes the majority of TKinter. If you want to know more about how to do things in TKinter, you can read the documentation which I've given in the top of the thing. Like, this is the tutorial which I essentially followed. And but if you want a stronger tutorial talking more about the modern programming concepts, you should look at the official documentation. So that will conclude the things about TKinter. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, Madhan I'll look into your question. So, do you want to share screen or something? Madhan, you're the one whose Selenium was not working, right?
I'm trying to open it.
Okay, okay. Thing.
It is taking time.
Yeah, it's fine.
The problem was it when I run this PIP instant selenium.
Yeah.
It was giving that PIP is not a recognized command.
Okay. In that case,
Yeah.
small question. You're opening this in the terminal, or which program are you opening this in?
No, I'm doing in the Windows 10.
Okay. So when you're doing this, you should actually open Anaconda prompt. Did you do that?
No, I went to CMD.
No, you cannot do this in CMD. You have to open this in Anaconda prompt, because Anaconda prompt, when you're doing it with Anaconda, for some like Anaconda has a lot of commands, okay,
Okay.
and because it has a lot of commands, it doesn't
Okay.
want to break your normal CMD by just forcing you to use those commands. So when you're doing things with Anaconda,
I
you're
have to go
supposed to.
to the Anaconda directory. Is it that?
No, no, it's called Anaconda prompt.
Okay. So
Uh, the,
Anaconda prompt. How do I go to that Anaconda prompt?
you can. It should be there in your. It should be there in. You can just search your search. Sorry, search your start menu. Like when you
Okay.
press the start menu in Windows, you can
Yeah.
search Anaconda, right?
It is showing Anaconda 64-bit. It is showing Anaconda 64-bit.
Is that the only Anaconda it's showing?
Yeah. And then inside that, I'm getting Anaconda Navigator, Anaconda PowerShell, Anaconda prompt is there. Yes,
Yeah, yeah,
Anaconda
yeah.
prompt is there. Okay, okay. So in that Anaconda prompt, I have to go and there I have to put that PIP.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I think I'll see it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no issues. Okay, so
Okay. So that was the problem because of which I was not getting.
yeah, like it's not. I'll be honest, it's not intuitive at all that you have to do so many jump through so many hoops just to get this to work. But that's how we
Okay.
just a lot of things are baked in tradition. What do we do? Okay.
Hmm.
So, do anyone else have any questions? Like, this is the last week of the course, so you should. I hope all of you have been practicing the different questions you solved in class. Like, for example, the Swayam portal has the weekly assignments. Many of them are pretty decent questions, if you ask me. Like, I think it started in week 5, and the questions are just quite decent. Do any of
Head. This TK stands for what? Text something.
I
TK.
I actually do not know what it stands for.
Oh, okay,
We
okay,
we we just call it TKinter.
okay.
Yeah, give me I actually want to know what does TKinter. Oh, essentially there's an old language called TCL, and it stands for that, which makes sense because a lot of things in TKinter is like really old. But it is undoubtedly the easiest of the one of the easiest of the interfaces to use. So it's nice to know. So in addition to knowing how to make programs which just run in the terminal, now you can make programs that run in window. So like we can like very quickly make a small thing which looks like a calculator. So if you think about it, a calculator will let's first design the calculator. Okay, so let's design the calculator. So in a calculator, we will want it to we'll have the output here. We won't care about what's inside the output yet, but that's fine. And then we'll have all the buttons here. The buttons is going to need a frame because there's just so many buttons, and we'll have we usually have 0 here. So that's like 4 columns. Then we just have we have plus, minus, a dot here equal to here. Oh, we'll have more buttons, but because I don't want to place so many buttons on the screen right now, we'll just do with four. There are 4 columns and 4 rows, and we'll have last two for multiplication and division. So let's get started. Rho is equal to tk dot. So region is equal to tk dot. And now we have to place all the buttons in place. Lovely. So we'll define the functions, the buttons later, but we'll first make the. So because it's almost the same code for all of them, it makes a lot of sense for us to do this via a list for I in range 10. tk dot dot this. The operation button, because it doesn't have as much of an order, I'm going to use a dictionary there. Plus, minus, multiplication, and division. Now we have to place it on the grid, which is not too difficult, but it'll take time. So number buttons of 0, it's locate dot grid. It's the fourth row, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 is located in row 2, column 0. 2 is located in row 2, column 1. 3 is located in row 2, column 2. 4 is located in row 1, column 0. 5 is located.
Can it
Preventing
be
con.
made like a recursive? Can it be made?
What?
By recursion, can it be made? This
I
zero.
we can programmatically do this, but
Yeah.
like
Okay. But I mean,
sometimes,
okay.
like no, yeah, it's like sometimes it's much faster to just do the hard work
Do
on
it like
actually.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I could spend a couple of minutes trying to think of logic. What is the pattern between the columns and the number? But there's just 10 numbers, and I feel like that will make things a little more complicated. But otherwise, yes, if there were if hard coding these was completely unreasonable, I would not do it. I'll rather code it. Yeah. So it, what's the thing called? 0, 1, the last number 0, comma 2. Now likewise the operation button. The first one is dot. Dot plus equal to minus multiplication division. This is row 4, column row 3, column 3. Dot is right next to it. 2. Plus is usually on the top. Row 0, column 3. Minus is row 1, column 3. Multiplication is, I'll just put it below subtraction. Row 2, column 3. And division is going to be under 1. So 3, column 0. So theoretically speaking, it should be fine. God. I forgot equal to sign. Yeah, I have to include the, oh no. No, no, this is, I forgot to place show region and button region. That's why. Okay. So show region dot Well, it made the thing really massive though. Why is it taking so much space? Oh, we don't need this. Yeah. So with that, we have made a very simple way to make a calculator. Now, we can do things to add things into the calculator and things like that. And since we have time, we might as well do it. Okay. Okay. So in addition to these things, one thing you, okay, it's not here, but in the other example, say it is very often that you would want to have one of the variables inside the TKinter to have, sorry, one of the text inside the TKinter to be easily accessible as a variable. And the command for that is we use something called string var or things like that. So I'll make show text to tk dot string var. Where did it go? It's a little weird. It's not accepting the input variable. This is how it's supposed to have been done. Okay, see how it works. Uh, I'm not certain why it did not work in the IPY notebook, but well, it's working here.
Eh,
Hmm.
we'll
So,
close it.
hmm?
We'll close it today.
What?
Will we close? I mean, I think we have done already whatever we should.
The thing is,
Uh, it's
in
up
my
to 7 o'clock.
contract, it's written that I must take class for 2 hours.
Oh, it's up to not 8 o'clock. It's not 7 o'clock. It's
No,
more
it's late
8 o'clock.
o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Like, if I'm honest, I went through TKinter fairly quickly. I expected it to take like 30 more minutes, but
Yeah, okay.
I it finished it faster than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
TKinter.
well, if I'm honest, if you want to leave, you can. The
Okay.
classes will be there in the YouTube anyway, so if you want to watch it there, you might as well.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please do
Uh,
ask me because I'm always ready to answer any questions about last week's classes and things like that. Like especially if you have, since we have reached the final week, I think I can even answer some of the questions regarding the programming assignments. I mean, obviously
okay.
not the latest programming assignment, but
Okay. Okay. I think I had a question.
oh yes, please do ask me.
Just let me see.
Like once again, if you the only way to properly learn programming is by coding things yourself.
Practice. Yeah,
So
practice is a must.
mm,
Sir,
yes,
sir, you have shared your content in the GitHub, no?
GitHub, yeah.
But have you shared that image also? If you share the image, that will be a great help, sir. For my dot,
Which image?
I
Oh, you asked me the question about the Clahe, right?
no, no, not that.
Okay,
Yeah, I asked the
okay,
question, and in the forum I found the answer itself. And using that mode property, I also found whether it's a RGB one or black and white one. Even it looks like black and white. Actually, the mode color mode is RGB only. I'm getting, so that question resolves.
okay, okay, good.
Now I'm talking about that you want last at week 10, I think you taught about image rotation and all, no, all those stuff.
Yeah.
My that image you have done used for producing that black and white mice square thing only, no?
Oh,
Okay.
but for that one, I made
Yeah,
the image inside the code.
yeah, code only you have written, so
Yeah,
that previously we have you have used that image, to enhance and all that filter one image, so we
yeah,
can use any image, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
fine. You
the
have loaded me dot png the jpg.
that is
I am.
also in the oh, that's also
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry, sir. I
Yeah.
found that one. Left side, I am able to see that. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank
Okay, so I feel like I mean this might seem a little late for the entire thing, but I would really recommend that you install Git on your computer. So Git is different from GitHub. Essentially, think of Git like I'll think of an example later. But oh, why does Git always do this to me? Yeah, Git is something called a version control system. It has lots of things. It's very powerful about about the things it can do. But we are right now only going to be use. I'm going to show you how to use Git to download things very quickly. So so you this is the folder of mine that you want to download. Normally what you'll do, you'll come here, you can download this by zip or something,
you.
but the proper way to do it with Git is to okay, so after you install Git,
Sir, whether this is the last class for you?
I will also take a final class on 22nd of October, the next Sunday,
Okay,
I think. But
okay.
after that, we are done, and best of luck for your
Okay.
quizzes then.
Yeah, okay. Because
Okay.
already
Hmm?
he has ended the session. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, this will be the yeah, this is the last week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so in retrospect, I should have explained a little bit of Git earlier to how to download things. So I'll just go to my folder. Again. Okay, so this looks. Don't be scared about the terminal. Essentially, blue just means it's a folder and things like that. So I'll just make a tempo. Okay, so I've opened a new folder, and if I want to download everything here into that folder, all I have to do is copy this by clicking this and write git clone and paste that thing. Then it will do all the and now it has download everything. So it's very easy. So if I go to that place, C users AMD Naveen, I just made a folder called temporary, and now I because of Git I was able to just download everything into this as like very quickly.
So we are having this Git for all versions, sir. Windows, Windows 10,
Yeah,
Windows
but
7, and
unfortunately you have to install it. You have to
okay,
go.
okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the installation looks scary, but if you just do it quick, oh, we can install it like this also. I'll be honest, the installation of Git does look scary, but it's fine. The most of those options are not necessary for basic users.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So if you have Git, it's very easy to download things, and I think even the other the other TAs for this course also have shared their Git repositories, so you can use Git to download them very quickly.
Sir, similar to download, we can quickly upload also then.
That's true, but uploading takes a little bit of explaining about what
Okay,
the different
okay.
things are, and
Yes, sir.
yeah, I'm not very comfortable explaining how to no,
No
because
worries, no worries.
no,
Yeah, I will.
it's a little more complicated than you think. So for example, in VS Code we have the source control. We have a tab for source. We have a tab for source control, and what the tab here does is essentially like a mini version of Git. Hmm? But it practically uses the same thing as Git as well. The thing is, there are a lot of small things here that I'm sure I'll miss something. So, and honestly, there are a lot of videos in YouTube about Git and how to use Git that I feel it's better to see that, because I've only started using Git like I only use like 3 commands of Git. So I can add things I add things here. I give a name, week 13, and I click commit, and now all the changes are uploaded. I mean, not uploaded yet. All the changes are committed, and now if I do sync changes, it sends all these things into my GitHub repository. So if I open my repository now, like right now it looks like nothing's here, but if I reload, week 12 is here now. So it it looks easy, but I'm not sure how to explain what all I've done. I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If I change my directory,
Yeah.
I have no sorry email ID. I changed my email ID.
Yes. Is this
Um,
regarding the exam or Python?
Exam plus whatever material is there,
Okay.
it has come to one email ID. I want to change that email ID to some other. What do I do?
Uh, to be honest, you must ask. Oh no. It, to be honest, the teaching assistants are not in. I mean, the teaching
Okay, okay.
assistants in charge of the evening classes are not in charge of what happens in the
Oh, okay. I
in
mean,
the yeah.
as far as
Yeah, you must
exam
talk to the
goes.
admin section of NPTEL or the SWIME portal to uh,
Okay. So if I change something in the discussion, will it work? No.
disk.
This
Discussion forum,
discussion
Oh,
no,
discussion
no,
program.
sir.
Yeah,
Actually,
no
you have to write it to support at NPTEL.
yeah.
They
support.
will help.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Academic sides, these people will help us.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Like we will we can help you understand the code and things like that. But administrative people do administrative people, and we'll just keep that divided there. I made a spelling mistake. Did someone ask? Are they really have a question?
Sir, can you share the GitHub link? Now we just presented.
No. It's there in the Swime portal. So
Okay,
wait,
sir.
give me a second.
Swayam portal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that. But it's also here. So if you go to problem solving session, it'll you can open this link and it will have the get like under near my name it will be there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
From there only I took, sir.
Yeah. I can change these. Oh, I have not uploaded last week's lectures. I'm sorry about that. I think it's there in YouTube. I didn't put it in the. I'll do the YouTube thing later.
Sir, basically you belongs to CSC department?
Oh, I actually belong to mechanical
Oh,
engineering. Yeah.
okay, that's great. So previous TA told he belongs to biologist. Yeah, that's why I asked. That's
Oh,
great.
that's interesting. Okay.
Different
I
streams.
I
Yeah.
didn't know the other people like me who just no like essentially Python is so important that I did it for most of my things in my mechanical engineering also. So this course is not aimed at just people who are in learning programming. It's for every field basically. Yeah. Okay,
So
so
doing
yeah,
PhD and IIT Madras now?
yes, I'm doing PhD in IIT Madras. So as since we have time, I'll just kind of try to complete this. Later.py.
Based on your area, you might have be excel in one area, no? But you are doing great in image processing, TKinter module, every module you are. It seems you are expertise, sir.
So the thing is, if I'm honest, I'm learning most of these modules like 2 days before the course. I mean, before the classes, just to teach you people. Like, it's not a difficult thing. Like once you have practice doing a lot of coding in one area, it becomes easier to pick up new and new
Anyway,
modules.
so your busy schedule, you are spending some time to learn those concept and delivering. No, that's great.
Yeah, it's fun to learn these things, honestly. So if I'm honest, TKinter, I learned it today at 12. Yeah, so
Great.
okay, so I'll just quickly make a couple of functions for this. 0. Hey. Okay, I made one mistake. Okay, so actually, this is uh, a bug in Python which has recently been fixed. So because like I'm following Python kind of closely, but we can fix this easily. For I am range 10.
What is the error, sir? The letters are very minute. Not able to see.
I'm sorry about that. The error is no matter what I'm pressing. Oh, can I make it bigger?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
No matter what I'm pressing, the thing that's coming is 9.
So
And
whatever
that is
letters you are
because
pressing,
hmm? if I
whatever letter
yeah,
two you
whatever
are
I press,
pressing.
the thing that comes here is 9. And the reason that is happening is because this function is taking the value of I, but the value of, so if I do I is equal, yeah, it's taking the value of I, which is 9 right now. Wait, give me a second. I'm sorry.
So whatever button is pressed, you have to get that index only, no, sir.
Yes, that's what I should be doing. The issue is like this was
Mistake.
fixed very recently. Like right now, I'm using something called a lambda function because okay, the idea is sometimes your function is like very small, and because of that, you don't want to give it a name. Like I can write def.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
lambda function,
yeah.
sir.
So
Actually, I
essentially, I'm using a lambda function here. But there's a small bug in the concept of lambda functions which has recently been fixed, but it's fixed in the later version of Python. Right now I'm using Python 3.9 and therefore it's not fixed here.
what is the error?
The error is in this lambda function, it knows it takes a value I, and the value I is unfortunately 9 because if I after this loop is over, the value of I is 9. It's not making this,
Initializing.
yeah, like when I'm making this lambda function, it's not using the value of I at that time. It's using the value of I later.
Actually, you have to do that command individually, no? You have used for loops.
Yeah.
If you
Only
add a
then.
button separately and add the command operation, then the corresponding value will be fetched, isn't it?
Could you repeat?
So instead of adding all the gridding all those button using a for loop, if you grid it separately, in that case you can easily able to get that value, right?
One
Yeah,
by one you have to
but
write.
yeah, then I have to write 10 functions for all the,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's me who's it's I'm the one here who's being lazy. But is there an easier way to do this? I do not think so actually.
Before
Wait,
that text dot get, if you put and print I, can we see whether it is going on 1, 2, 3, 4, or it's
yeah,
going?
we can I can can I just put a print I with it?
Actually, it will be incremented, it will be added, sir. Using grid, we are up. adding all those buttons on the screen. Then after that, if you are performing action, in that case, what will be the value? That's the
No, no,
thing we have to take
no,
into
the
account.
thing is, when these buttons are here, I'm making these buttons. So as I'm making these buttons here, I'm using a lambda function which takes a value of I. The thing is, the creation of a button is something which kind of takes a little bit of time. But Python doesn't want you to know that. Like, I mean, it should just go smoothly, right? So by the time all the 9 buttons are made, the value of I is already 9. So because the value of I is 9, in this the lambda function is using the wrong value of I.
So not like that, sir. Action handling. If you are pressing that button after creating, after gridding only, you are doing that action,
No,
right? You no no no.
you're
You are
say
creating. You
you're
are
saying
creating.
that because I is it's not supposed to take global values though. It, so you're saying you're right. It's taking the global value. Why is it taking the global value? This is so
I know
sad.
it little bit, sir. I am an international coding tutor
Oh, is
working
it?
at QMath, so no worries about that. This is what happening inside.
The value of I should not be global. The scope things are also not available here. Why is it? I also want to text.get I. Too much work. Yay. So of course, if you're stuck in Python, you can always just Google the errors and find a solution. This smart person has. Okay, so we have a very rudimentary working calculator here, which doesn't calculate anything, but at least you can write numbers inside the text box. Calculating numbers, that's a fun little problem for you to solve. I've been asking many people to solve this for the last a few classes, but I'm not sure how many people tried. Window dot title working calculator. So if there are no more questions, you can leave, and I'll yeah have. If I remember correctly, the exam is on next week, right?
28th.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, Sitin.
What will be the weightage of programming questions and the theory questions in exam?
I am sincerely sorry. I do not know how the exams will be conducted. You should ask this in the discussion forum.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm so sorry about this. Yeah. Madan, you said you had a doubt regarding one of the programming assignments.
I think I have always closed that
Oh,
other
okay.
one.
Okay. So I hope you guys learned something. Like one of the one of the in the 6 or 7 class, I had asked for reviews to like improve my explanations in the class, and some students had said that I should do more things are not done in class, as in not done in the weekly lectures. So I hope today's class will satisfy them.
So just commit these codes also. TKinter. I will have a look to complete this one.
uh the code is already updated, uploaded.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
Now
the
you have made changes,
no,
no?
I'll
That's why.
I'll upload this quickly. In fact,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you. I will try to complete this one.
yeah. Have fun.
Thank you. Actually, I have attended only few session of yours, one or two maybe, but according to my viewpoint, you have shared all those other resources also. You are not in a particular in a closed environment. No? You are exploring all other applications of Python. It's really interesting.
I feel like if you just do what's done in class, it's not enough. Honestly, like you have there's
No,
so
no,
much
four
in.
different peoples are there, no, sir. Each one is covering different areas, so
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fine.
yeah,
You are dealing with advanced application oriented things. It's interesting.
yeah.
So we may have class on Saturday or Sunday, right?
I
It's
have
not
given I've said it. I've even given them the links for the class on Sunday.
timing Sunday.
Give me
Timing, sir.
give me a second. It's, if I remember correctly, it was 5 to 7 on Sunday.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. They sent us a mail saying that they will eventually inform you people, but I'm
Yeah,
yeah.
so we will normally get the notification by morning, Sunday morning
Oh,
or
okay.
Saturday only. Probably I will go through all those codes which you have uploaded, and if I am having any doubt, I will ask during that
Yeah,
session.
no issues.
Thank you, sir. We will
Yeah,
see you on Sunday. Bye.
yeah. See you on Sunday. Okay, so class is over. You may leave and have a great week ahead.